So now, one last example. Sometimes you're going to have to use multiple conversion factors in order to get to what you need. So this example will give you an idea of what to do in that situation. So if you need to use two or more conversion factors. Okay, so this example is from your book, A Doctor um, prescribes a dosage of 0.150 milligrams of Synthroid if the tablets that they make the Synthroid into contain 75 micrograms of Synthroid. How many tablets are required for that dosage? Okay, so again, follow the steps. This will make it a lot easier for you guys when you're starting out. Once you get the hang of it, you don't have to write out everything, but for the time being, write out everything. Okay, so you are given 0.150 milligrams of Synthroid and one tablet equals 75 micrograms. So they gave you an equality in the problem. Make sure when you guys read the problems that you look for equalities. So if the tablet in the stock contains 75 milligrams of Synthroid, that is the equality. One tablet equals 75 micrograms. Okay, so now what we need is how many tablets that whoever is getting this prescription would need to take in order to get that 0.150 milligrams of the Synthroid. So now we need to write our equalities. So first, let's draw our map. So we need to start with, we're starting with what we're given. So we're actually going to start with this number because this is an equality. So it will be one of our conversion factors. So 0.150 milligrams. So we're starting with milligrams. And then we need to go to micrograms. Okay? Now, there's no conversion that's listed in your book to go directly from milligrams to micrograms. So we're going to have to do a step in between where we go to grams. And then from grams, we can go back to micrograms. And then there's even another step that we're going to have to do to get to how many tablets. Okay? So now let's write our conversion factors. So first conversion factor, we've already written an equality here. So one tablet over 75 micrograms or 75 micrograms over 1 tablet. Okay, so that's our first equality. Now, our next equality is going to be, so we need to write 2 here. So grams equals how many milligrams, and how many grams equals how many micrograms. So remember, follow those rules. Put a 1 where your prefix is, and then look up the value of your prefix. So milligrams is 10, or milli is 10 to the negative third. Okay, and micro is 10 to the negative 6. Okay, so now replace your value here. So 10 to the negative third grams equals 1 milligram. 10 to the negative 6. Pen's being kind of jumpy. Okay, 10 to the negative 6 grams equals 1 microgram. So now we can write our conversion factors for those two. So we'll start with milligrams. 1 milligram over 10 to negative third grams, or 10 to the negative third grams over 1 milligram. Okay, and then we'll write our conversion factors for micrograms. So 10 to the negative 6 grams over 1 microgram, or 1 microgram over 10 to negative 6 grams. Okay, so I'm going to redraw the map down here so that it makes more sense, like the flow of the problem. So we are starting, let me just do this in a different color so it stands out, with milligrams. Then we're going to go to grams, then convert from grams to micrograms, and then lastly from micrograms to the number of tablets that this person would need to take. So always draw your map, that way you can look at it when you start setting up your problem. Okay, so again, start with what you're given. We were given 0.150 milligrams. Okay, and then we can draw our railroad here. So let me go back to black for the rest. Okay, so that's what you're given. Now look at what conversion factor you would need to use here. So we're going from milligrams to grams. So that's going to be these conversion factors. So which one you use will depend on what's in your numerator. So because milligrams is in your numerator, you need milligrams in your denominator. So 1 milligram over, or 1 milligram and 10 to the third, or negative third grams. Okay, so now because we're going to have to do multiple conversions, we're going to divide the railroad again and keep going. So now we have grams, and we need to go to micrograms. So how many micrograms is in a gram? We wrote those conversion factors up here. So which one would we need to use? Again, look at what's in your numerator. Here our numerator is grams, so we need to use this conversion factor. So on the bottom, 10 to the negative 6 grams per 1 microgram. Okay, now lastly, we wrote our conversion factors over here for tablets. So look at these two here. And again, look at the numerator. we have micrograms, so we need micrograms in the denominator. So for every 1 tablet, there was 75 micrograms of Synthroid. Okay, so now our problem is set up. So all we need to do now is do the math. So again, you're going to multiply by the numbers on top and divide by the numbers on the bottom. So the way that I always did this is start with this number, multiply by the first number in the numerator, then divide by the first number in the denominator. So the way I did it is like this. Let's draw my path when I would type it in my calculator. So I would multiply, so multiply times 0.150 times 10 to the negative third. Then I would divide by 1. So again, make sure your units cancel. Milligrams, milligrams. Okay, and then from there I would take that number and multiply by 1. So our units cancel. Divide by 10 to the negative 6. Okay, and then lastly, multiply by 1 and then divide by 75 micrograms. So now we have micrograms on top and bottom. Those cancel. The unit that we're left with is tablets. So if you do this math on your calculator, you get an answer of 2 tablets. So do the math yourself. Make sure that you get the same answer. If you don't, then come talk to me. I want to make sure that you guys are using your calculators right. It will really depend on what type of calculator that you're using, but when you use those TI-30 calculators, there is a caret button that you can use to type the exponent in your 10 to the negative 3. So you would type 10 and then caret and in parentheses negative 3. And that would be how you would type that in your calculator. So let me know if you guys have any questions. You can post in the news forum or in the social forum or send me a message through Moodle or through email, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about this stuff because I know that it's kind of a lot to take in, especially these 2 or more conversion factors part. It probably looks really confusing right now, but I promise it's not that confusing. Make sure that you guys do the practice problems that I posted in Moodle. If you do those problems and have trouble, just post in that Moodle forum for chapter 2 and make sure that you guys understand what's going on. Okay, so that's it for these sections, and it was section 2.4 through 2.6. So let me rewrite that here. Okay, so those were the sections.